Here is a recipe for 14th century pickled eggs. I originally made this recipe to take the eggs to the War of the Phoenix in February of 2024 to eat between battles. This recipe is called Baid Mukhalal, and it was originally from a book from 14th century Cairo, Egypt. I found the recipe on the website Turn, Spit and Table, but it was also reprinted in a book called Medieval Arab Cookery. The recipe goes, Baid Mukhalal, take boiled eggs and peel and sprinkle with a little ground salt and Chinese cinnamon and dry coriander. Then arrange them in a jar and pour wine vinegar on them and put it up. So basically, you're going to hard boil the eggs and then peel them and then pack them into a sterilized glass jar. Add some salt, cinnamon sticks, coriander seeds, and cover them with white wine vinegar. Make sure that you invert the jar at the end to mix all the ingredients and to cover all the eggs with the vinegar, and then refrigerate them. Leave them for a few days to allow the flavors to develop before eating. Another version of these pickled eggs is from eatlikeasultan.com, and it contains the cassia or cinnamon, but it also includes ginger, cumin, coriander, cloves, rue, citron leaves, celery leaves, mint, and a sweetener like honey or sugar. So there's a variety of different things that you can add to this to flavor the eggs. And in this case, I used true cinnamon plus celery, rue, bay leaves, and rosemary. Most of the cinnamon you buy at the grocery store is actually not cinnamon, it's Chinese cinnamon or cassia, and it comes from a tree from Southeast Asia called the Cinnamomum cassia or the Cinnamomum aromaticum. And it's good, it has a cinnamon flavor, it's not quite as sweet, and it's a little more bitter. The true cinnamon only comes from Ceylon, and it comes from a tree called the Cinnamomum verum tree. And you can tell the difference by how the bark coils. At the end of this bark, you can see it's tightly coiled, and that's the true cinnamon, not the cassia. So I took a dozen eggs and boiled them, and then, after they were cooled, peeled the eggs, sprinkling the eggs with a little salt. Rue is a slightly bitter, spicy plant, not hot, not citrusy, but kind of like a bitter flavor, maybe like cilantro-y. And we're going to add some of that into the pickled eggs. Here's some bay leaves. We'll pick a few of those and add some fresh bay leaves in. I don't know, maybe 6? Sounds reasonable. This is celery. It's actually growing from the stem of the celery that we cut off to use the celery. You put it in water for a little bit, it sprouts, and then plant it in the garden. It doesn't make the big thick stalks of celery like you would buy at the store, but it makes a fine stalk and leaves, and of course you can use the leaves and they have the celery flavor. Why not add a sprig of rosemary? Got a nice smell to it. Place them into a sterile jar and covered them with the distilled white vinegar. The coriander I used was the ground coriander seed spice, and I just sprinkled that into the vinegar and then sealed it and inverted it several times to mix everything. This made a great appetizer or side dish or even a snack for camping out at the War of Phoenix. It can be sliced and used in sandwiches or can even be just eaten as a snack. A few safety concerns about keeping eggs at room temperature. It is probably best to keep them refrigerated, although in the 14th century the Egyptians didn't have refrigerators and they would have to kept this at room temperature. But because the vinegar would have been a low pH at the acidic pH of 4.6, that would prevent bacteria from growing. It's also recommended not to pierce the eggs to allow the vinegar to enter inside the egg, because it can actually allow bacteria to get into the egg and grow in anaerobic conditions. So it's potential for bacterial infections like botulism to occur. And if you stir the eggs periodically or turn the jar upside down to make sure everything stays coated in vinegar, it'll make sure that the eggs are preserved, and keep it in the refrigerator if you can. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe to my channel.